Hey y'all, this is Dina. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so tonight I am going to show you a very quick project. Well, kind of quick. And I'm going to make a fabric pennant banner. Now, when I did my video of what you need to take to a craft fair, I showed y'all a few of the pennant banners I still had left over from my last craft fair. And so I had several requests asking me if I will show how to make it. So I am going to show you quickly how to cut the little pieces of material to make them in pennant shape, into flag shape. So yeah, so let's just get started. Now I've already cut a few of them. And as you see, I'm going to kind of go with the pink and green and white theme. So how you cut this is, I have a piece of fabric and it's folded in half, so it's two pieces, and it's 10 by 7. So I've already measured it out. It's 10, and this is 10 by 7. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I kind of made myself a little mark on my mat, and this is the 5-inch mark. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to, first of all, you have to start with 2.5 down here at the bottom. So we're going to eyeball it about in the middle there. And I'm just going to put my ruler, try to do this where I can still cut and y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put my ruler at the 2.5 at the bottom and up to the corner. And I'm just going to cut off this side right there. Okay. So now it's looking like this. Okay, so now I'm going to take it from this point at the bottom, which measures 2.5 inches from the end, and I am going to line my ruler up at the 2.5 up to the 5-inch mark on my mat, which is where I put the little line, and I'm going to cut that off. Let me make sure I got I'm kind of cutting backward. And there you go. So now I'm going to take it and keep it on my mat. I've got my point over there at 2.5. Get them right there. Okay, and then I'm going to take it I'm going to cut from this point to 7.5. So it's 2.5 inches from each end is what you're going to be actually cutting. So I'm going to go here to the line in the middle. Make sure I have my fabric lined up. I'm going to go over just a little bit. You want to make sure it's lined up the best that you can. And I'm going to take it over to 7.5. And make sure you get it to the point. And then you're going to cut. And you've got another pennant or another flag. Okay, so far I've gotten 2. Now I'm going to take it from the 7.5 over here up to the last corner. So I'm just going to line up my ruler, and I'm going to cut from the point down here at the bottom. There you go. So I got 3 little flags out of that fabric. Now I'm going to go give this a quick press, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do next. So I will be right back. Okay, so I have finished cutting my pieces of fabric, and I have already pressed each one of these. Now what I need to do is I need to sew from the top down to the bottom to the back up to the top. You don't have to worry about sewing the top because we're going to stick those in some bias tape. So this is what it's going to look like. So let me quickly show you. I'm just going to sew a few of them and then also the rest of them off camera. So let me just show you how I do this. So make sure you keep them lined up since they're double-sided. And I've already changed my thread. I chose pink because my bias tape is going to be pink. And if you watch my channel, you know that I like pink. So I just line everything up. I line the edge of my presser foot up with the edge of my fabric. And that's how I got mine. You can sew this as far away from the edge if you want, or closer if you like. But I just sew these just like this. Try to keep them as close together as you can. And then I get to the end, I'm gonna use my down feature on my machine so I can keep it and then go back up. Okay? So you can chain piece these. Okay, I got this. Now I'm going to take my next one, make sure that they are close together and you're not seeing some of the white part that's on the back of the fabric. And I'm just going to chain piece them, and I'm just going to keep sewing it till I finish sewing all of these. So I'll just show you maybe one or two more, and then I'll finish the rest off camera. These little banners, I have one hanging in my craft room. Super, super, super cute. And I might change the color in my craft room, so I'll have to make a new banner that matches whatever color I choose. I also have one hanging in one of my spare bedrooms where my grandsons sleep, or if company comes, but I did that one in like superhero style. That way then it's kind of more boy oriented. Kind of went off the end on that one, but that's all good. I'm gonna go up here, make sure I got my down feature on, and I'm just gonna keep sewing, and I'm just gonna chain piece these until I'm done with all of them. Okay, let me do one more, do the rest off camera. So you can make your pennant banner as short or as long as you like. I usually do mine like 10 or 12 of the flags, and that makes a good lengthy pennant banner. Okay, and you want to make sure you're putting a thread that kind of coordinates. And I know that pink it's not with green and white, but I wanted it to kind of match this right here, this bias tape, so I don't have to change it again. Okay, so I've got 4 of them sewed. I'm going to finish sewing the rest of these, and when I've got them sewed, I will be back and show you what's next. Okay, so I have sewed a seam, if you can see that, all the way down and all the way back up. And I've sewed on every one of these. It's been about 5 minutes, so it doesn't take long. You can chain piece these, and it goes a lot faster. So now what you want to kind of do is kind of figure out what pattern you want to put your little pennant flags in. And so I'm going to do, I think I'll do like this. And then I'll just keep going with that same pattern. You can mix and match if you want. I like kind of to keep going with the same pattern. So what you're going to do now to get started on this is you're going to open up your bias tape. And I like to use this thicker one. And this is a 7/8 of an inch. And this one is hot pink. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. And you probably won't use all of this. Yeah, you'll have some left over. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bias tape, and I'm going to make sure that I hope I stay in frame. I'm going to take my bias tape, and first thing I want to do is make a loop on the end, because that way then you have a way to hang it, okay? So I always just make it about, let me see how far that is, what the length. That's about 3 inches. And I'm going to leave about 3 inches on each end. So first I'm going to go quickly and I'm going to sew this so I have my loop. So you'll be able to hang this up on your wall. And what I do is, because I don't like to poke too many holes in my walls, I just put some tape and it holds them up just fine. So when you have it like this. So let me quickly sew this right here. I'm just going to sew like 2 or 3 seams right here. And then I'll show you how I put my peanuts together. Okay, so I've used my zigzag stitch and I've sewed this into so it makes a loop. And then I have the bottom part right here is open. So I'm going to start by putting my pennants, and I'm going to start by putting my pennants up underneath the fold. Make sure you have it. Make sure you get the kind that's double fold. Double fold. You can make your own bias tape if you want, but to me, this is only $2 or like $2.99, and I had a coupon. So you might as well buy the bias tape unless you want it to match what fabric you're using, but I try to just go solid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pennants up underneath the edge of here, and then I'm just going to take some of my pins and I'm just going to pin them in place. You can use Clover Wonder clips if you like. In fact, I might do that on the next ones. And then I'm just going to keep putting my pennants all the way down. So let me go with the pink one. Now, also too, when you're ready to put your next pennant, what I do, and let me lay this down quickly to so I can show you. I take it and I lift it up, and I'm hoping you can see this. I take it and I lift up my bias tape, and I kind of overlap them a little bit. And I'll show this to you closer, so give me one sec. Okay, and so I kind of overlap them. I lift that up and I'll overlap it, and I'm going to put this I'm going to put these all underneath the bias tape all the way down, and then I'll show you actually what it looks like once I've got them all pinned in place. Okay, so I have pinned all of the pennants. As you see, this is what it's looking like. I've pinned them all onto the bias tape. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the one end, and I'm going to sew it all the way down. Just sew a seam, like maybe 1/4 of an inch, all the way down to seal these up. And then I'm also going to make sure I sew over here and make my 3-inch loop as well. That way I can hang it. So, okay, let's get back in the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit backward. I'm going to go ahead and sew my loop, and I'm doing a zigzag, and I'm going to go back over it a couple of times just to make sure it's secure. And I have it on 2.0 stitch length. Okay, so I've got the end, got my loop. Now make sure you're sewing the little seam where you've sewed it together back here. Maybe make sure you sew it the same one like you do the other one. You don't want to have one end with it sewed on the front and the other end sewed back. So you want to just make sure you have it sewed the same way. Okay, so I'm kind of, let's see here. Let me see which way. I'm going to do it this way. Actually, I'm going to do it this way, because I'm kind of right-handed, and so I like to see things a certain way. So, no, I gotta do it the other way. Y'all, I'm so iffy. Okay, let me turn it around. Okay, so I'm good now. So what I'm gonna do is I need to change my stitch back to a straight stitch. And I'm gonna do about a 1/4 inch. And let me bring my trusty chicken over here to get my pins. And I've got all the pennants up underneath the double fold bias tape. And I'm going to sew it straight down. And as you're coming to your pins, just pull them out. If you already sew, you already know this. I just thought this would be a fun project because I tried to do some sewing projects and mix them in with the paper. So I thought this would be something different tonight, and it doesn't really take long. Once you have everything cut, you can have it cut. I think you could have a banner cut and sewed probably in like 30 to 40 minutes if you just work continuously at it. That's about how long it takes me. At first, if you're not used to sewing, it might take you a little bit longer. But yeah, these are really fun, like I said, to hang up for decorations. Like I've got one in my craft room, and I've got one in my grandson's room where they sleep. And I made probably about 15 of these and took them to my last 2 craft fairs. I sold a few, so if you wanted to make some of these for your craft fair. Now, I sold my pennant banners for $20, and they did sell. So, yeah, there is a possibility. You could probably do 15. Would it probably even be a better price? Because doesn't really take a lot of fabric, but you know, it's just your time that you're spending. I forgot to pull that out in time, y'all. Okay, let's just keep going. Remember, keep your stitch straight. Keep my little chicken close. Hey, if you guys sew and you need a good pin cushion, let me know if you want me to show you how to make a chicken. Because I can show you how to make a pin cushion chicken. And he works great. Okay, I'm coming toward the end. And I'm just going to do a little back stitch right here. Make sure I hold it in place. And y'all, how easy is this? Clip off your threads, and so easy. And you guys, if you wanted to use these for birthday parties or something, they're reusable, y'all. They're so cute. Look how cute it is. So cute. And yeah, so fun. Okay, let me get some more of these threads off. And there we go. Okay, so see, there's our pennant banner, y'all. And here you go. You can see the whole end. I put 10 of the little pennant flags. You can make it longer if you want. Let me see how long that made this. 10 of them made it about the length of my desk, which is probably about 5 feet. So it made it about 4.5 feet, which is plenty. But look, y'all. Isn't it so cute? So cute. So cute. Anyway, let me lay out here on the table so you can get a better look. Okay, so here it is, y'all. There is our pennant banner. Now, how cute is this? You can make these kind of banners like with paper, you know, and just tie them together. But how fun is it to use some really fun fabric and to make your own pennant banner? And, you know, where you can reuse it. These are even machine washable. So how easy is this, y'all? How easy was that? Super easy. So I hope that you have some scraps in your sewing bin. If you sew, or run off to the fabric store and buy yourself some super cute fabric. Buy a couple of different designs and kind of put them together. But yeah, these are super cute. And like I said, if you wanted to sell them at your craft fair, you could sell them if you like. I still have a couple, and I'll probably maybe make 2 or 3 more. I'm not going to overkill on them. But I'll still take them and hope I can sell what I've still got and the few that I'm going to make. But anyway, they make great decorations, y'all. Anyway, I hope that you like this, and I hope that yeah, I hope that if you sew, I hope that you can give this one a try. Now, also too, if you do not sew, you know, you could always not layer up your little fabric, and you can always hand sew them, or maybe a heat and bond, or maybe fabric glue. You can put that underneath there too, and that would probably work as well. So anyway, hope you give this a try, and I guess, y'all, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.